Devotion is a American biographical war drama film that's coming up at the end of this year that I really want to watch because I'm a huge history buff. And since I recently saw Top Gun Maverick, I really am looking forward to seeing another kind of Air Force aviation action packed film because watching the trailer multiple times, I'm really excited from what I'm seeing. And the fact that they're actually doing a film that's about the forgotten war, which is the Korean War, actually has me really excited because I'm a huge history nerd. And the Korean War is actually very fascinating to me. It is directed by J.D. Dillard, and it stars Jonathan Majors as Jesse Brown, who was a famous African-American aviator to complete the U.S. Navy's basic flight training program, was a recipient of the Distinguished Flying Cross, and the first African-American naval officer killed in the Korean War. And I'm glad they're making a story about this individual, so I feel like it needs... African Americans need more light shown on the history of their part of what they played during many of these wars, from the American Civil War to World War I to World War II, and especially here in the Korean War, which is a conflict that was forgotten by most Americans, actually. Now, I wouldn't say completely forgotten, but the fact is, like, most people really don't know that much about the history of this conflict. I know somewhat a little bit about it because I've studied it a little bit. I've watched a lot of videos, especially like the Battle of the Pusan Perimeter, the Battle of Incheon, the Chinese offensive that happened at the later part of the year in 1950. All of these key events in that war that took place in the beginning part of that war, really I liked studying and learning about. Actually, I recommend there's a documentary from a 20th century battlefield where the kind of important Chinese offensive is covered, and the documentary is done very well by Dan Snow and his son, or I forgot it was his dad or blah blah blah, whatever. It was done amazingly in the sense of it gave a lot of important details about that war, and also had great animation, great CGI, and it was really engaging. And I'm just kind of fascinated that the fact that they're making this story about this individual, and not just this individual. It's just like, yeah, we're gonna see finally something on a large scale devoted to the Korean War. Also, what I'm kind of excited about is seeing Glenn Powell. Glenn Powell was from Top Gun Maverick. Top Gun Maverick was an excellent sort of aviation movie. I absolutely loved watching that movie, and this kind of simplicity of the story, the fact that it was basically just another kind of film where the pilots are trained and they have to be sent out on a mission, and that's it. And it works in its sort of simplicity of that film with great acting throughout. And Glenn Powell really stood out in that film, and I'm kind of glad to see him going from that movie to another aviation film. I think what I'm seeing is really great. I think the CGI from the trailer looks pretty splendid. I don't think that, in a way, it probably won't get that many. I don't think it's going to be a huge box office success. It seems like historically these types of movies, they come and they go, and people watch them, and all of a sudden they forget about it. They're like, all right, there was a film about the Korean War, blah blah blah, and it kind of comes and goes. There's kind of a history of that. These types of films are kind of forgotten. But hopefully that's not going to be the case. Hopefully there's going to be a lot more people showing up to the theaters to watch this type of historical film. Now, I hope that this movie is going to be a lot better than Red Tails. Red Tails was a 2012 American war film that covered the Tuskegee Airmen during World War II, the part that they played during that war. That film was actually produced by Lucasfilms, and I think that it's sad that the quality of that movie is really, the reviews that were given of that film were really terrible, and the movie didn't come out very well because, again, when movies do a terrible job of covering that part of history, and they're really corny or stupid, or just overall just terrible in the structure of those types of films, it reflects badly on the people themselves, the individuals that they're covering that history. Because what these movies do is that they're shining a light on this important aspect of history, and they're informing the public about these individuals. And when the movies turn out terribly, it's like, dang, couldn't you done a better job in sort of honoring these types of individuals, these these warriors, these fighters, these people who fought for this country. It's sad to see, and I think Red Tails is a really a quintessential example of this, of a historical film that's done horribly, and people forgot about it, and it's just for good reason, because it's a bad film. But I really hope that effect doesn't happen with Devotion, where people watch it and it's really a low quality film. People forget about this and they're like, all right, that was a bad Korean War film. Now let's go on to something else. I hope that doesn't happen, and that's something that I'm a little bit concerned about, because again, the director J.D. Dillard, I haven't heard of his films before. I don't know much about him. I hope that he's a really competent director, and I hope he just makes this a very compelling, a very engaging film, because it seems that at times in these movies they can be extremely corny, they can overdo it, or they're just some elements of history that are just completely false and they just fabricate in these movies. I really hope that doesn't happen. I hope they kind of portray the facts pretty well, and I guess they do a good enough service of shining a light again on this period of time that really needs to be sort of that needs to be more out in the public, needs more people to know about this type of period of time, because the Korean War was even though it's a forgotten war, it was an important conflict to the South Korean people, and it's still remembered. I mean, again, there's still these tensions between North and South Korea, and I think that here, this movie, hopefully it will just bring more light to that kind of situation, of that problem that's going on in the Korean Peninsula. But who knows? It could be terrible. It could be again like Red Tails. It could be corny, bad acting, bad dialogue, bad writing, bad structure, everything, and it could be forgotten. Or it could be like Top Gun Maverick, where it's a stellar historical film where people are really invested in it, learn more, or are more interested in learning about the Korean War, and more about the kind of heroes that fought and died in the Korean Peninsula. That's what I'm hoping for, but it could happen that way, or it couldn't. I'm not sure. That's what I'm looking forward to. The trailer looks amazing. Again, the CGI looks fine. I don't think that it's spectacular, but again, I see some elements of it that look like Top Gun Maverick, and I think if this movie is handled like Top Gun Maverick, this movie could be just another huge success of a film, and we could see more kind of these kind of historical war films. I don't know. It looks great from what I'm seeing so far, but let's cross our fingers, and when this film comes out, hopefully I'm going to be able to get the chance to watch it in IMAX, because that will be awesome to see this type of film. Because I missed my chance watching Top Gun Maverick, to be honest with you. I really wish I watched Top Gun Maverick at an IMAX theater. I really wish I did. But let's see what happens, and hopefully the actors come through, hopefully the writing comes through, hopefully everything comes through, and it's a hugely successful film, like a kind of a Saving Private Ryan of aviation, of Korean War films. I don't know. It might not be like that. But anyways, yeah, I just wanted to give my opinion on this trailer, on this upcoming film. Hopefully you guys have some opinions on this movie. If you do, I want to hear them in the comment section down below. I hope you guys are going to be interested in this type of kind of period of time, the Korean War, and want to see this film, or excited to see this film, as I am. So let's see what happens, and thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. Also, please subscribe to my main channel, Samson1202, as I really would appreciate people actually going to that channel instead of like subscribing to this one. That channel has sort of better edited content on there, whereas this channel I just upload random stuff. But yeah, thank you for watching anyways. Hope everybody has a wonderful day.